Welcome to Little Dreams, a YouTube channel full of gentle tales where little ones find magic and calm. Beauty and the Beast, an adapted tale inspired by Madame Leprince de Beaumont. Once upon a time, there lived a wealthy merchant who had 3 daughters. The youngest was the most beautiful and kind-hearted of them all. Everyone simply called her Beauty. Her older sisters were vain, proud, and full of themselves. One day, the merchant had to leave on a journey for business. His eldest daughters begged him to bring back fine dresses, hats, jewels, and fancy trinkets. But Beauty said softly, "Please, father, bring me just a single rose, one unlike any seen in our land." The merchant promised and set off. His road led him through a dark and tangled forest. It was a bitterly cold winter day. Snow fell in thick flakes, and the wind howled like a wild beast. Soon the merchant lost his way, but just as night began to fall, he saw a faint light flickering between the trees. Guiding his horse toward it, he found himself before a grand and mysterious castle. He entered through the gates, but to his surprise, not a soul greeted him. The courtyard was silent. He stepped inside the castle and found a great golden hall, warm and bright, with a roaring fireplace. Exhausted, the merchant lay down and fell into a deep, peaceful sleep. When morning came, he looked out the window in astonishment. The snow had vanished. The trees were green, birds sang, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers. As he wandered through the garden, he spotted a rose bush unlike any he had ever seen. Remembering Beauty's wish, he gently picked a single rose. In that instant, the sky darkened, thunder boomed, and from the shadows appeared a hideous beast, so frightening that the merchant froze in fear. "Ungrateful man!" roared the beast. "I sheltered you, fed you, and this is how you repay me? By stealing one of my precious roses, the only joy I have left?" "Please, kind sir," the merchant begged, falling to his knees. "I meant no harm. The rose was for my youngest daughter." The beast glared at him, then growled, "Very well. If one of your daughters is willing to come live in this castle in your place, you may go free. But if not, return in 3 months and face your fate." With a heavy heart, the merchant agreed and was allowed to leave. The path through the forest seemed to open before him as if by magic. In less than an hour, he was home again. His daughters rushed to greet him, but he could barely smile. Wordlessly, he handed Beauty the rose, still fresh and fragrant. "Take it, my dear," he said softly. "I have paid a terrible price for this gift." He told them everything. The older sisters wept and refused to even consider going, but Beauty stepped forward and said with quiet courage, "Do not worry, father. I will go to the beast. He spared your life. Now let me try to repay him with kindness." The next morning they set off. Just as before, the road led them directly to the enchanted castle. The gate stood open, waiting. Inside, a grand table had been set with delicious food. That evening, as the chandeliers lit up with 1,000 candles, the castle trembled with the sound of heavy footsteps. The beast appeared, towering and terrible. Beauty shivered with fear, but she stood her ground. The beast looked at her with tired, gentle eyes. "I will try not to frighten you," he said, in a voice like thunder softened by sadness. "Please, make this your home, and do not be afraid." Touched by the kindness in his words, Beauty reached out and gently patted his furry paw. "You are very kind," she said with a small, sincere smile. The beast bowed his head and whispered, as if from far away, Thank you." Days passed. Beauty wandered the sunlit gardens, plucked golden fruits, and listened to heavenly music that drifted on the air. The beast appeared only in the evenings, and each night they spoke for hours. Though his form was monstrous, his mind was sharp and his heart sincere. Beauty soon looked forward to his company and no longer noticed his ugliness at all. One day she asked, "May I go home for a short visit? I miss my father." The beast nodded. "You may, but promise to return in 7 days. This ring will bring you back when you place it on your finger." With a flash of magic, she awoke in her childhood home. Her father wept with joy. But when her sisters saw Beauty healthy and happy, their hearts filled with envy. "Let's keep her here longer," whispered the eldest. "Yes," hissed the middle sister, "then her beast will die of sorrow." And so Beauty stayed, a day longer and then another. But one night, she dreamed of the beast lying lifeless in the garden, his voice barely whispering her name. "What have I done?" she cried. "How could I be so cruel?" She slipped the magic ring on her finger, and in a blink, she was back in the silent castle. No one came to greet her. Panic rose in her chest. She ran through the halls and gardens, calling his name. Finally, in a hidden grove near the lake, she found him. He lay still on the grass, pale and dying. "Don't leave me," she sobbed. "I love you." At those words, the sky blazed with light. The trees shimmered. The castle shone like gold. Beauty shielded her eyes, and when she opened them, the beast was gone. In his place stood a handsome young prince. "Your love has broken the curse," he said, smiling. "A wicked enchantress turned me into a beast. Only the love of a kind heart could set me free." He knelt before her. "Will you be my queen?" Beauty smiled through her tears and took his hand. And so they were married and lived a long, joyful life filled with love, kindness, and light. The Moral of Beauty and the Beast by Madame Leprince de Beaumont teaches us many important truths that remain relevant in any age. The central message of this story is that true beauty lies not on the outside, but within a person's heart, in their kindness, actions, and pure intentions. The beast, despite his frightening appearance, turns out to be noble, gentle, and full of compassion. And Beauty, guided by her inner light, sees beyond his monstrous form and finds a true friend in him, because she chooses to look with her heart, not her eyes. This story reminds us that kindness, patience, and sincerity matter far more than wealth or outward beauty. Beauty treats the beast with respect and tenderness, even though others might have judged or feared him. In return, she receives not only his love, but also the reward of discovering someone's true self. Unlike her selfish sisters, she follows her conscience, showing children the value of empathy, courage, and making choices with integrity. In the end, this magical tale teaches us, never judge by appearances, and always look for the goodness hidden within. Good deeds are always rewarded in time, and love, honesty, and compassion will overcome fear, anger, and loneliness. This gentle story reminds us that to be truly beautiful, one must first be truly kind. And so our fairy tale comes to a close. If you enjoyed the story, please give it a like. Subscribe to Little Dreams Bedtime. Until our next magical adventure.